In this video, we're going to go over the story of the flood in Genesis chapter 6 and following, and some of the unique aspects of it. It's not going to be a totally detailed account, but highlight a number of features I find fascinating myself. Okay, so first of all, Noah his name is kind of significant. Many names in Hebrew have some significance. His name means comforter or rest. And we read this at the end of Genesis 5, actually, with the birth of Noah, that it says, "And Lamech lived 182 years, and he caused the birth of a son, and he called his name Noah, saying, This one will give us rest from our work and from the toil of our hands, from the ground which the Lord has cursed." So Lamech anticipates God is going to do something yet, even as messed up as he is. And his future descendants, he picks up a macro theme that humanity is exiled from Eden, that there is a promised coming seed who will overcome and bring that whole episode of the snake and the toil of the ground to a conclusion. Noah's name is given significant theological meaning by wordplay. At some point I'll do a video, or we'll talk about it in class, which is called paronomasia and polysemy, which are different word plays. Not that they're like cutesy or anything, but they are actually significant for meditative purposes, that they use the same root consonants in the Hebrew letters and flip them around this way or use them that way, or and they're all related to kind of tie these or be hyperlinks between these different ideas. For Noah, his name can mean from Noach, rest, and comfort is Nacham, and they're all related to his name. It rhymes with the first two letters of the word for comfort. So, by means of this association, Noah's role in the story is already given a theological interpretation. He, by his actions, will be used by God to bring about a new generation after the flood, a new beginning for the world. So we're going to read here from the Jewish Study Bible, Genesis 6, just the beginning, and this helps us understand why the flood. When men began to increase on earth and daughters were born to them, the divine beings, now that is an interpretation by the Jewish Bible because the term there is the sons of God, saw how beautiful the daughters of men were, and took wives from among those that pleased them. The Lord said, My breath shall not abide in man forever. The word breath there also means spirit, ruach, wind, breath. By the way, your nephesh, which is your throat, it's the only way you get food in, and it's the only way you breathe. You need your nephesh, your throat, which is also the word for soul. You become a living soul or a living being, that's what nephesh actually means, by breathing, and what is brought into your nostrils is the breath of life, the Spirit of God. So these are all ideas that are tied together. So ruach, nephesh, soul, spirit, breath could be truly a Tanakh biblical theme paper for you. So my spirit shall not abide in man forever, since he too is flesh, you could say, or breath. Let the days allowed him be 120 years. Now it seems like that 120 years is the time it's going to be between this and the flood itself, or it could be that we are limited to 120 years or less after this point in time. It was then, and later too, that the Nephilim appeared on the earth. We're going to talk about the Nephilim. When the divine beings, the sons of God, cohabited with the daughters of men, who bore them offspring, they were the Nephilim. They were the heroes of old, the men of renown. Fascinating story here, right? So the Lord God saw how great was man's wickedness on earth, and how every plan devised by his mind was nothing but evil all the time. And the Lord regretted that he had made man on the earth, and his heart was saddened. That is such a revelation that God has regret. So much so he was almost ready to wipe out the entire world of humanity. But the Lord said, I will blot out from the earth the men I created, men together with beasts, creeping things, and birds of the sky, for I regret that I made him. But here's the good news. Noah found favor with the Lord. So the Noah story in Genesis chapters 6 through 11 fits in now with larger patterns that have already been at work in Genesis 1 through 5. And these themes are replayed in different ways. So you can see here on this slide that I'm showing you that Genesis 1 and 2, or 1 verse 1 through 2 verse 3, the first creation account, talks about the creation of the world and the blessing given to humanity. And then chapters 2 through 4 through 3:24 is really a story of the garden and the failure of the first man and woman, and their nakedness, their curse, their exile. Then the next generation, Genesis 4, is a story of the failure of Cain, and then Lamech is not the chosen one. 7 generations, 3 sons, city of Cain, murder. 70, all these things just pile up. And then God chooses Noah. And now we start seeing the reverse. Now we have another rebellion. This time it seems it is as these divine beings, or sons of God, sons of Elohim, by the way, come across. Elohim is a word study that you could do, and I believe we've got some students looking into this. There's a book by Michael Heiser called The Unseen Realm, and he talks about what is the divine counsel that comes across in passages like this, as well as from Genesis 1 on, included in the Psalms and elsewhere, where there are Elohim that are spoken of. The word Elohim is actually more a title. Often it's translated God or gods. It's plural, actually, but it can be a singular, plural, majestic for God, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the God of gods. Or it can be Elohim is really just a class of being, a spiritual being, a form of, not deity like God, but spiritual being with power beyond what human beings have. Psalm 8 will talk about, what is man that you are mindful of him? You've made him a little lower than the angels. These are spiritual beings, one form. Okay? So here we've got this cosmic rebellion, which each time through the book of Genesis, we have the sin in the garden, that rebellion, and then Adam and Eve are banished from the garden and given provision as well, a promise, and then Cain, the murder in the field, he is given a curse upon him, but also provision and a mark to protect him. And now we get to this story, and it also has the sin of this cosmic rebellion where the angelic beings, the spiritual beings that are maybe in the heavenly realm, are trying to interact and mess up the created order. And God is now regretting this because of the mess that these rebellious spiritual beings are causing. And so we move on from there then. And then God brings a decreation. He basically accelerates the destruction that they were bringing about by intermarrying with the daughters of men, and he brings on the chaos waters again of Genesis chapter 1. And then from that, a recreation, Noah through the ark, a temple-like structure where he is called on to be fruitful and multiply. He plants another garden on top of a mountain, but then he is naked and drunk and sins. And then the next generations, we will see after that, Ham is cursed and his son Canaan, and we'll talk a little about that. So Noah has 3 sons, then 7 generations they are to Peleg. Then the city of Babylon is formed, and the 70 nations, all those who are not chosen. Another rebellion at Babylon where the humanity tries to take on and take charge, and it leads to God scattering the nations. And then from Shem, the third-born son of Abraham, or of Adam, to Abram, there are 10 generations listed. God is bringing about a new purpose in Abraham now, at an old age, beyond his years to be fertile, fruitful, or anything, is now going to be the one God says he will bless. And from the deadness of his old body and his wife Sarai's life as well, God will bring about a new humanity. So again, recreation and blessing.